Hello and welcome. It is the 15th day of April 2021, currently 42 p.m. Eastern. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and amongst the like, that is each his own risk and their own reward. There was a time when Bitcoin had the sideways trend. We also had one like this beforehand as well. Markets do what they do, so a decent sized gain here, and so far it's been very much a decent size gain amongst the cryptos. And I've went through these technical analysis stuff so many times. And I will a little bit in this video, but a few things before we do that. First, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to say it should be obvious, but I'm not. Never have I ever. I don't even know how you get one. I mean, I don't know if you get a car, if you get like a driver's license, you got like a pass a driving test. You have to like pass like a financial advising test somehow. I've never even figured out how to do it. I don't even know what they do, and I can only guess, I assume, and I'd probably be wrong. Like, for example, say it was back in here, and I haven't even shown you where here is, we'll say somewhere around here. If you were, say, a financial advisor for A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K Corporation, and it's a financial institution, whatever, and you have a client, a customer coming into your building, and of course, they already have investment portfolio. You probably have it set up where they have some stocks within your company. Maybe bonds, and definitely fiat currency in their accounts for sure. After all, you are a bank most likely, and I'm sure they do their normal everyday banking within you. And of course, maybe work within your credit card, maybe in a Visa, American Express, or what have you. But then you're going to be getting situations of what to do about gold, silver, and then even now it'd be cryptocurrencies because maybe it was a long-term customer and you're talking about gold and silver is just doing whatever. It'll go up at some point. Just keep on buying it, and then do they have the storage? Do they have it with them? Do they have a Brinks or whatever set up? Are they just showing them tools, or is they them holding it themselves? And then cryptocurrencies is where I'm on going here. So what would financial advisors be doing? Like, and the one thing, and I've heard this so many times, and I'm only guessing because I'm not a financial advisor or any of these what these bank people are, that they can't make any money or profit by supporting cryptos. I really no, they could. How? I mean, when you look at the situation, this is what I've noticed, and I'm noticing. First off, you can teach people about wallets, moving currencies, and stuff like that in like seminars, and they're not free. You charge like you would at like a ballroom or any type of convention center type thing of a whole bunch of like people, and that's one way. Or private sessions, they come in for an hour and you just pay for you're paying your hourly wage that hour. I mean, if someone's serious about making a whole crap a coin and they're into this type of stuff, you can charge them $80 an hour, $100 an hour, whatever have you. Okay, so that's one way. But yeah, what I've also noticed is a lot of people just don't get it, don't understand, and don't want to do it. Oh, so I can find a way of holding your private keys as an institution, so like I could hold your gold kind of deal, and you charge fees for that, so profit, and so on and so forth. And then anytime you go with more advanced, different stuff, intermediate to advanced, you can, of course, just charge different fees. And then when you buy and sell Bitcoin in itself, just like any time you're exchanging like euros to yens to US dollars to Canadian and Australian dollars and what have you, you make a small cut on the exchange. Oh, you're exchanging Bitcoin for dollars. Okay, you make your cut. So, no, I think they can make money. Anyway, so they get into it. Bitcoin prices are going up and all this type of stuff. And in here, what would you be saying in here and here and here, all these different times? And they'd be different each time, but right now, if you've already been in it for a while, heck, you could have been in here and be like, yeah, I got like a grand, see what I can do. And now, like, okay, now that you're a millionaire, moving to a multi-millionaire because of different things you can do. So many different ways of trading and different things like that. And, there's just so much that can be done. And then you have people going new in the business, so a lot of people will be like, well, one would be selling a little bit, diversifying, because of course I have to only guess, and I don't know about financial advising. Like I've heard of things like don't put all your eggs in one basket, and well, what do you do if you're in a situation where you're all about that? So you have like so back in here you put like 10% of your portfolio in Bitcoin or something, which would be pretty high, and that'd be pretty amazing results if you did. Let alone what you did if you threw it back and was like lower prices in there. But you get to, and then of course I'm talking for the larger gains because one other way you can be making coins if your financial institution is you could have like a trading fund for whatever clients where you can buy shares into kind of deals. So you could say, oh, today they sold 500 or they sold 50 Ethereum or 10 Ethereum, and oh, you got your portion of it. And then they bought this coin. They sold this coin today. Bought this coin today. They sold X percentage of their like Litecoin. And they bought X amount of Zen coin or whatever it is, and then you can see like what the portfolio is, and I gotta think that you could probably find traders that can overperform the market. It might not be that difficult. I'm just saying, might not be. But then, of course, those would be people. Oh, what kind of trading? Do you want to just have like simple, always in Bitcoin, always in this, never moving? Do you want to be on their trading? And then, of course, if they use that trading platform, you pay your fees and so on and so forth. So again, that's another reason how they could be making cash. So within stuff like financial advisor, it's and they always people say maybe you should see a financial advisor. I don't know because I don't know what they do. I really don't. I just know I'm not one of them. 63,500 is the price here. From what I see, technical analysis, I suppose. I mean, am I even a professional risk reward manager? Which is basically for like, really, we call it advantage gambling, but you had a lot of this like sideways movement here and like this, and I like how within the 18 this has been holding this rally after having resistance in here and here, and even I know this is lower, but a little bit there. Oh, this does look poised, 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 ready. I think for a tremendous gain. So if you're looking to buy, looking to sell, if you're not in the game, I mean, what took you so long? And I mean, this is a tough decision because you could wait, but the risk reward on waiting. What's the risk? What happens if everything is majorly out of control in the next like few weeks and months or whatever? Bitcoin goes to 120, 240, 300, 600, and now your pullback's going to take you down to 120. I mean, it's unlikely, but it could. But how likely is it for people to be getting into it as these prices go 60, 80, 100? And then they're going to be well, they're going to go. It's going to go down a lot, and it's going to go down a lot to whatever the high happens to be. Maybe it goes up to like 180, but that means people will be buying at 160 and 170 and 180. It's always the way it is. It's the only way it can be within these markets. So just a lot, a little bit of really holding in there. But when you look at this amongst the single-hour term time frame, might be ready to go. You got this that happened this afternoon, coming back and starting to lift off like that. So this level of resistance becoming support. Newly rising 18 after point A high, point B low. Most likely have a quick move up to this high, and who knows, maybe it's a quick move back down like this, and it goes higher. Maybe there's not much resistance, and then next thing you know, we're seeing 66, 67, probably even close to 68 to 69 or $70,000. Now I'm going to switch it up to altcoins, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do have family members that are like, hey, what should we do here? Stuff like that. Um, so in one case, buying Hadara down in here before was worked out to be a good play, as it made the gain in which can be shown. Now, within such, after the gains, when you go from like this is clearly a multiple X move, but only a little bit one. Right now, it's about almost 3 times higher than it was maybe closer to 4. But also means that if you have this type of move, you can take bits and chunks of it, into different coins or make different types of plays. So one of it was to get into take some of the coins, buy some Teslas with it, which was done on there. Now Teslas really hasn't done too much, but it's held in there. And same thing with Polkadot, and yet still got a lot of Hedara because of the big move. And then even just recently, so we take a look at this on the hourly term time frame. It was somewhere I just couldn't tell here what Hedara was going to do. I didn't want to draw that. Let me just delete that and scroll back in time. Because at this point, I was really unable to determine where it was going to go from here for its next significant move. Is it going to be able to retrace higher and make new highs? Or are we going to fill some of this empty space, retracement mode, and come down a little bit lower? And of course, the holding size is still really good. And another coin was looking very, very bullish. Now, since then, this coin has grindedly been a little bit better. However, I was looking at Doji on the 1 hour term time frame. This is what it looks like at that time. I was like, I just think this thing's going to go off. And I think if I don't know what Hedara is going to do, and I like the chance of going up, it might not be a bad time to just take a little bit of it, maybe buy some. And the price bought was 120 average price, or was the price? I think it was 120, 121, as if it matters. And then there you go, it's 342 now. Okay, well maybe some Cardano might be bought tomorrow if this keeps on going, and that's just a fun little play you can do with different coins. Have it if it has a decent sized gain, you can take like a quarter of it, a third of it, 20%, 25%, depending on how big the gain is. But this is just getting crazy right now. I'm just looking at this now at 345 being like, and this was like 310, 320 just like seemed like 10, 15 minutes ago, and then what's right in here is where I remember the last prices. This is going crazy how well this is. And even on the 1 minute, it's like almost like a buy signal here when you look at it. As far as it's had a lot of legs higher, but it looks like another one's gonna come in. You go up, come back to the 18 like this, and what a great correction in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like about 6 or 7 periods. Now you have the excitation, and now this is like weak resistance. And look what's happening. It's just breaking and clear. Because this is one of the spots, it's not like I'm surprised it's doing it, but this is one of the spots where you can see, well, maybe it stops there and it grinds for 4 or 5 periods if it's going to be a successful bull move, but if not, when it breaks, sometimes these moves can come in. Now, oftentimes, if you see a break of a new resistance level, you want to see it come on in good volume, and 24 seconds left, this volume's coming in pretty good. I'm guessing that just in the next few minutes that this is pretty good. Buying at 349 is probably the right play. I want to talk about long-term analysis on this. I want to see how this moves, and I suppose both could be done at the same time. Because Doji hasn't been available on Binance for really all that long, or Doggy. It just got a picture of a dog on it. And it's been around for a long time. So therefore, if we go to this on the monthly chart, it's only so much data, but Poloniex has been around for a long time too. Three situations that this has. Number one, this is going to range bound market. The range is between 20 and about 100. Right now it's 3.5 times higher than the upper end of the range. Exactly 3.5 is 350. Satoshi 100 being that where that line is. Number two, it's gonna go to nothing, which means it's gonna break support at 20 at some point, and then just pretty much go to nothing. It's got to go down like 95% or so to get there from this point. Or number three, it's a major upgrade, and thus the range is over, and the most likely events is Some of this at worst, at lowest, somewhere around here, like 68, 70, becomes support. Let's think about this volatility and how high do I think this would go? I think close to like 800 to 1,000 maybe, at least. It could even, who knows how much higher. Going to 1,000 right now is only about almost triple, not quite. Just get to 1,000. But could you imagine if it? I don't know. Actually, more than, let's see. The range before was 20 to 100, which is like a 5x move. Which probably tells me the new range would be somewhere like, well, that's a 5x move, so maybe less than 5 times higher, like 400 as a 500 key resistance, which would pierce extra, of course. Well, I think would pierce extra, which means this line that I end up drawing in the future would be near 400, and it might have, like, when it hits its resistance top, say this one here, maybe 6 months from now, maybe 2 years from now, whatnot have you. We have price action that would go to like, well, yeah, maybe 1,000, 1,200, 1,600, 2,000, what have you. I say what have you all the time now, but yeah, we'd go to like, let me just draw it. I'm going to draw it what I'm thinking. And where I'm going on, this is just going to be monster volatility. So let me just put a line in where that. So if it does something like this, you probably see something where it pierces a little bit extra. And this is a terrible log scaling too, so put that into consideration that I wish it was better. And then you can have a move where it's like, and literally something like, then go like this again. Basically repeat what you've seen in here, but the range between somewhere like, again, like 100 and 400. When I look at Bitcoin and really putting two good assets together, it's supposed to be just choppily rangy back and forth. And there's going to be some that'll be a bit more superior, so you can have little ways where they could have uptrends. Another way is the gradual uptrend too. And that would mean where you would, and again, you want to look at the monthly charts, or use long-term charts. So monthly, if you have quarterly, those are good too. But a situation where the 18 average would have some sort of long-term trend, where it goes like, why didn't it draw there? Okay, come on. So it goes something like this, and then it would trade. So it would have to go down to something like, I don't know, something weird like that. And then the trend doesn't have to quite be there. I mean, you could have the 18 squeak up like this, and then grind higher, kind of deal, whatever. I don't know how big this move is, because I can come out and predict, oh, and this isn't that big of a prediction when you look at where I'm going from here, saying this thing can go to 800 and 1,000 and what have not. Because 800 is barely 2x right now. And it's already been 3.5x, or 3.6 even. It's up a couple, 3% since it's broken that short-term resistance. Let's go to the 1 minute on here. Yeah, I mean, look at it, just keeps moving. I expected it would. Even good volume here on this, but this is a smaller site on Polo. It's not that big of a prediction saying 1,800 again. Whether it's possible it could happen 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 with Bitcoin, or another way of saying it, in line for like some serious X gain. It's already done good, going from like 20 or whatever low number to like 350, 360. It's noticeably well above this, but I looked at this earlier in coin. Yeah, look, if you look at this on a log scaling on CoinMarketCap, how do you do kind of deal? And it's in the top 10 again. It's ahead of Litecoin. Litecoin is now at 10, and Bitcoin Cash is at 12. For now, it's getting a little high, but it's been there before. After all, Doji is one of the first ones. This is the chart, and it's already set in a first in dollars, and it's in linear scale. You go to log, it looks much different. But if we change it to Bitcoin, a lot different. First of all, apparently, February 2014, it rallied up to this previous high. I'm going to just push a print screen and use my paint for this now. It'll be a lot easier. And now I can use my drawing tool. But this 100 level is big resistance and a couple levels. You got it to this level of support, and then this little area here. So there's the 20, and there's the 100. Within such, you have this little break of resistance, but every time it broke before here, it pulled back. Not doing that now. Rather, come back to where we came from, break the last established resistance, and now clearly break above all of this, and it looks as if it's getting past the start of 2014 highs, which meant if you would have sold your Bitcoin for Doji here and you haven't done anything with it, you've barely overperformed it from now to then, because it's at all-time highs against it. But it also means too that you'd have to think that this would have some sort of decent-sized game. I would just be hard-pressed to think, because even here in a logarithmic scale, you can see that this is a decent-sized move just to get to the 1,000. That's why I have to really use a conservative, and cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile. But if you're looking for one of the more least volatile trades that we have, crossings, I mean, the Doji Bitcoin cross has done that. Because there's one thing that amazes me spectacularly within this range. The high is 100 and the low is 20. Well, this was early math learning. 100 divided by 20 was, because it's 5. It's a 5x range. Let's take a look at all the other ones against Bitcoin, all the 40x and 80x and 120x ranges and moves and plays that have been done. The moves aren't as big. So that's why I think on the extension, how big of an extension is this going to get? Now, what it was doing before is all these chopping back and forth. So if you're trading this within, like, in the home, if you go to more info box and the buying and selling, whenever you start, it's like, wow. But even just assuming when you start here, in the, of course, that's not what I wanted to do. You just grab, say, this here instead. Say you start trading in here somewhere. That meant your sell orders would hit in here, nothing but buy orders in here. And then a little bit of sell orders in here, maybe a tiny amount of buy, tiny amount of selling. A little bit more buying and a little bit more selling. Very good amount of buying, because some of the buys that missed here would have hit here. Then a whole bunch of selling up to this high, whole bunch of buying to this low. Selling up to this high, not much buying in here, but a little bit. Then a little bit of selling, and then there's your buybacks. Okay. The buybacks would be here. If you can get this one, how do you do? And any little extra ones, and this is what's cool, because you had extra time to get in on this move here, as was the case with this one. Because if you would have, sold, something here, and you want to buy it back at, like, whatever this price here, well, it would have taken you a couple plus years to buy it back. But hey, you got it back. And of course, run higher is nothing but selling. But when you're playing that type of game, you always have to say to yourself, okay, how am I going to put myself in a position? Because I know I'm going to be selling on the way up in here, 30, 40, 60, 80, 100, because every single time it goes to 100, it pulls back. Well, maybe at some point it might not. This might be that point. I mean, here you're like, oh, it's gonna pull back at 100. It did. Gonna pull back. It did. Gonna pull back. It did. It's gonna pull back. Well, it's not doing it. Because if it doesn't now, it's just gonna be a monster, much larger pure section. I got a lot of circles on here, but a much larger pure section than all the ones that was prior. So it really looks like it's a real breakout. Or of the three scenarios that I talk about, it is Bitcoin or Dogecoin is expanding some sort of new bullish trend that could last for several years against the Bitcoin, which means say goodbye to the 20 to 100 range. Maybe you can say goodbye to lower volatility and larger volatility coming in, and thus that the 1000 gets crushed. We're talking 14, 18, 24, 3000, or what a monstrously large number. Again, so many other cryptocurrencies have had monster numeros numbers. I don't speak French. Je ne, yeah, I was going to say je ne parle pas français, but most I can speak. Numero uno. That's one, risk reward management to me is job number one. But I'm not a financial advisor. And if we go to the 1 minute term time frame, oh, I guess. I mean, some people say technical analysis doesn't work, and we had a good break of that resistance. It got to like near 400. I mean, it still could go. We're at a correctionary phase here. Had its leg higher, I mean, it might be the top for the day. It might not. Who knows? We have to see how this correctionary move works. If he's able to get above the 18 average of highs, all that type of stuff comes into play. But I'm bored with Doji for this video. I'm just gonna finish it off by looking at another market, the silver futures market. Big volume just came in like right now. $25.91. That's a little higher than I'd not noticed before. Yeah, I mean this I really never looked at this through most of the day. Or how did I not notice that it was like near 26? Anyway, that's what it is. It's not like it's a big move. It's still doing what it does. But way back in the day, right in here, I took my first ever accounting class. Now that was grade 10, high school. And then it went as far as into college, up into here. And I took accounting every year, no matter what I was taking, whether it was high school, regular business administration, whether it was accounting itself. And never did they talk about cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. Well, biggest reason it wasn't invented. But today I'd be curious in accounting classes what they talk about and how they would, on a bookkeeping level. If you were like doing your books for your own company and oh, now I want some of your assets to be in Bitcoin. Now, one thing you could have put your assets back into was stuff like gold and silver. Never in any of those years did they talk about how a company would book their gold and silver bullion. Although, I mean, it pretty kind of did to a degree, and not for that much time. And I could barely remember when and stuff because that's just when you're really just talking about the investments that you have and of that type of nature. But they never really talked about stuff like that. And I don't know how many financial advisors would say to businesses, you got to get your gold, you got to get your silver. And now, of course, when Bitcoin started to come into play, I don't know if you're familiar with DaVinci J15 on YouTube. Way back in the day, which was 2011. There was a few people that I think there was 3 people that I was somewhat networked to on YouTube that got into Bitcoin on the earliest of days. One was a technical analysis channel that was just doing normal, was doing silver videos. Would do silver technical analysis, and all of a sudden added Bitcoin way back in the earliest of days, like the start pretty much. Can't remember the channel's name, but one of my channels only watched like three or so back then, 3 or 4, maybe 5, but definitely I can think of 3 or 4 for sure that I watched. And all of a sudden I can't remember his name, but he talked about Bitcoin. Max Kaiser was on Russia Today. Barely listened to him here and there, but what a bit. He got into Bitcoin, and then Da Vinci, who would also talk about silver and gold as money and things like in 2008, 2009, and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, at some point in like 2010, 2011, it was talking about Bitcoin. And in 2011, that is, as Bitcoin was, or excuse me, silver rather, was breaking resistance. So you're talking about maybe when it was like even in some, I don't know, 25, 30, so during this run up higher. I was thinking maybe I should get a hold of them and say, what do you want? I got like 10 ounces of silver I can trade for if you want to sell me some Bitcoin. And I'm thinking of it, and I wish I would have kept the thought and found a way, but I was thinking poker, sports betting, you just bet it like that. Play and well, back then, a 10-ounce bar would have been like 250, 300, 350, whatever it was. And if you start with two, three, $400 in Bitcoin back then and just hold it, let alone find ways of trading it back and forth, I mean, the amount that you would gain would be phenomenal. And then a financial advisor, I don't know what they do, of course, but you think they definitely have to help you out when you get monster gains. It's just, it might be one of those things, it's a mystery. Nobody knows what they do. It's like, it's not that. I just have never ever asked one. Like, hey, financial advisor, what do you do? And how do you get it? Like I know, like I mentioned at the start of the video, getting like the driver's license, you have to actually write a test, and you have to go to uh, pass your test, parallel parking and stuff like that. I don't know if you have to like, okay, you have to write tests like, okay, you have 3 ounces of gold, the gold price does this, and I don't know. I thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.